Hey, it's Jeff Zito, and thanks for checking out another episode of the Celebrity Jobber Podcast, streaming on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Please hit that subscribe button. Would love a 5-star rating, and please leave a review. And, of course, you can go back and check out all of our past guests and episodes on CelebrityJobber.com. What would have become of some of these people if they didn't get their big break? You know, what would they be doing? For my guest today, Robert Fitzgerald Diggs, things weren't easy. He was faced with 8 years in jail after a shootout in Ohio back in 1992. He said, quote, "When they said not guilty, my face stuck in a smile for 3 days. I was just walking around town thinking about my daughter, my wife. Right then I said goodbye to anything that would have put me in that situation again. I was up on trial on an attempted murder charge. I was a motherfucking fool with all that knowledge in my head and ending up there," end quote. This is the story of a man getting a second chance and taking full advantage of it. He's a rapper, he's a record producer, a composer, an actor, and a filmmaker. Who was Robert Fitzgerald Diggs? What was his first job or jobs? His big break? You're about to find out. Wu-Tang Clan's RZA is my guest this week on Celebrity Jobber.
The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, give a 5-star rating, and leave a review. Check out all our past episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you pod. What if these celebrities weren't famous? What would they have become? What was their first job? We're about to find out.
A.K.A. Bobby Digital. What's up?
In the building.
What's up, man? Really,
I got my blazer
to...
on today. I've been wearing this blazer for a few days. Like not a few days. Like I got I've been traveling.
Right.
So all I got is like 5 blazers.
Right.
I'm traveling for like 10, 12 days. So it's like I'm circulating. This one, I realized I had it on. You seen this? On the Jason Lee show.
Oh, that was wild.
Yeah. But anyway.
It looks, I only have one, so you got 5. Dude, first of all, I'm a real big fan. I'm from New Jersey. I do a radio show on the Jersey Shore, 95.9 The Rat. So Nice. It's really cool talking to you. I just saw the trailer for One Spoon of Chocolate, and so I had no idea that Quentin Tarantino was involved with this. I was blown away. You know, do you ever think back to like a young RZA? You ever think back to a young Robert Diggs? You think like, hey, after the second chance that you got, writer, producer, director, rapper, record producer, filmmaker, composer. Did you ever dream this would be your life back then?
I mean, I may have dreamed it, but to live the dream, that's, can you make it to that dream? Can you make it to those points? That's the magic of it, right? That's the grace, That's why I give all praises due to Allah every day. I'm thankful. I'm grateful. That's the grace. And I will honestly tell you, Jeff, that some of these accomplishments were very unattainable. I saw them as unattainable, especially as a film director. I would cut school and go hang in movie theaters. You know what I mean? And then when I was going to school, I didn't have a nickel for the bus, so I would walk. But when I walked, I would entertain myself with movies in my own head, like make up movies and make up stories. And the people thought I was crazy because like I'm walking and talking to myself a little bit. You know what I mean? But that was the kid I was. And then of course, I got into negativity. And negativity just took me down a rabbit hole that just caused pain, destruction, and even death of some good people that I loved, because that's how the streets are. But when the second chance came and I was advised by my mother, advised by my heart and my soul to stay positive, everything changed. And then the dreams started coming to reality. So, I read the Bible, I read the Bible since I was a kid. And it says for every negative action you do, we give you a negative in return. But for every positive, we multiply you. You know what I mean? And I've been fruitful and I multiplied by doing positive.
It's just an incredible story. I mean, looking back at your history, I just wanted to get into One Spoon of Chocolate for a little bit as I just watched the trailer. Quentin Tarantino involved. You were writer, producer, director. Was this all in your head a long time ago? Did it just come to you a few years ago? Where did the film start in your mind?
Well, the first attempt at the screenplay started around 2011. I got about 40 pages done, then I got stuck. I couldn't continue. I tried it again around 2015 before I did Cutthroat City, and I got stuck again, maybe another 5 or 10 pages. But in 2023, during the writer's strike, I was able to, on the back of a tour bus, New York State of Mind tour with Wu-Tang and Nas, driving across our country, this movie came out of me like a calling, page by page by page. I mean, fast, fast.
Wow.
And it was meant to be. It was meant to be, I think, for various reasons. One, it's a great piece of art. I hope your listeners go out and see it and feel the art and feel the uncomfortableness, feel the anger, the energy, the excitement, the warmth. Because it's really a nice amalgamation of emotions. But then also, I hope just saying to you, because we were both in the industry, is that when I did the film, a lot of people was out of work. So this film came as a savior for about 100, 150 people who didn't have a job because there was a strike.
Yeah.
So a part of me says like, man, it was meant for them. It was like, forget what was meant for me. It was meant to help them as well. And when I see the actors and the ADs and grips and gaffers and everybody who has had a chance to see the product now that we had our premiere, everybody just loves it and appreciates what they did and what it is.
And dude, all these jobs, right? I just rattled off all these jobs. We're talking your latest job is as a filmmaker, by the way, hits theaters May 1st, One Spoon of Chocolate. Tell me, all of these jobs, you said that, they were unattainable. You thought they were. I mean, I would think that they're unattainable. Okay. Right. What was your very first job? The very first thing you did to earn a living?
The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito. The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito.
What was your very first job? The very first thing you did to earn a living?
The very first thing I did was sell newspapers on the Verrazano Bridge.
Okay. Is that where Jimmy Hoffa's at?
I was working for his cousins.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. I'm Staten Island, baby.
Right.
But we sold newspapers on the bridge. That's let me give you my first 3 jobs so you can get a kick.
Okay. That's what I want.
First job, selling newspapers on the bridge, right? I made $30, $15 a day was what I made. Second job, selling oranges and apples downtown Brooklyn. Okay. Third job, putting screws in a box down on Franklin Street right next to a pepper shop. So you sneezing all day, counting screws and weighing screws and putting them in a box. A monkey could do it, but a man got the job.
Right.
And you can't sit down.
Right.
But
and you were hustling too at the time right?
Yeah. Well, that job, I made enough money in that job, and I can say this out loud. When I made about $500 after saving my money, I went and bought some weed and went entrepreneur. Bro. I got out of the nuts, screw selling business, and started selling things to make people go nuts.
Right.
And I sold, because marijuana is legal now, but in those days it was illegal. Bro, I sold it right on Wall Street. So a lot of great ideas that came in the 80s, I helped with my marijuana.
Right. Right. What about mom and dad? What about their jobs? What did they do?
Well, my father was a factory worker, but he left when I was at the age of 3. So my mother kind of became a single mother, raised 11 of us, so you know that. And really, to be honest, the welfare system supported my family for years. We were food stamps. Like I said, I'm the kid that walked to school because I didn't have the nickel for the bus. You know what I mean? So if
Mm.
I got a chance to get some extra dollars, my mother ended up with I don't mind saying this. My mother ended up with my stepfather, uh, and had more children with him. It was still one family, but he was a straight up street hustler, so he was in and out of jail. Um, but when he was home, and I always thank him for this. When he was home, this is like now I'm like 11, I'm 12, I'm getting, he would go out, hustle, come home, maybe have $1,000, and he'll give me $25. And I'll take all my little brothers to the movies. You know what I mean? And those days were me watching those kung fu movies. That's my beginning entry until I was able to sell newspapers or sell things and start buying my own stuff. 11, he helped out. By the time I got 12, 13, I was like, I get my own money. 14, get my own money. So this is New York. This is New York life, though. I
Right.
mean, you can name a lot of us. You could go ask Raekwon, you probably get a similar story. My story is a little heavy because it's 11 of us, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, and we lived in a two-bedroom apartment. So my wife always tells me this, and you gonna get a joke out of this. I don't like no small rooms, bro. Even in the hotel, they could squeeze another G out of me because I need space, bro. I'm used to somebody feeding my nose.
Right.
You, you know what I mean? So
Right. What do you think about and I don't know if this was a gradual climb for you, but can you tell me of a particular moment that happened to you? You're a young guy, maybe you're with Wu-Tang, you're just getting together, but can you tell me that pivotal moment in time, a phone call, a record deal, hearing your song on a radio or an interview? Can you tell me a specific moment in your life that changed everything for you? Like the next, you were like, man, I have a feeling things are going to be different from now on.
yeah, that's hearing Protect Your Neck on the radio, on not just on the radio, hearing it on WBLS in New York City.
Wow.
Yeah, bro. That moment, because it was my own record company. I'm part of the group. I put all my savings into this, as you know. I decided to go positive instead of negative. And it's you hearing it on the college radio, you're hearing it on Stretch and Barbito, and then it plays prime time on WBLS. And bro, every everybody felt it. I always tell the story. Raekwon was there at that same moment. Raekwon's about 5'5". I'm telling you, he jumped up and almost hit the ceiling. That's how I saw this guy go up. And
Wow.
all of us, it was such a moment of elation and achievement. And it was like, yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? And I would say this to you. It was one of the best feelings in my life. And I don't know if anything truly compares to it, but what is at least 50% close to that is, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, bro.
The
Bro,
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I'm coming from,
Obama. Obama.
oh, if I get that, then I mean, that's
That's
gonna
who
be,
you want, right? I mean, that's that you got some big my buddy Orlando Davis, who does morning radio in Tampa, Florida. He's like, you gotta Obama, this guy's got big nuts to ask Obama to introduce him into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
this guy got big nuts. I probably do got big nuts, bro. Okay. Hey, Staten Island, what do you want, huh?
That's right.
Come on,
That's
you
all
jerk.
there
You
is
know
to
what are you
it.
talking about it, huh?
That's right. Unbelievable. Can you tell me a little bit about the movie? I mean,
Yo,
tell me
yes,
a little bit about what it's about. It's
sure,
a little
sure.
fantasy. It's crazy, right?
It's I mean, it's inspired by true events. It's about a military convict who gets out of jail. He's trying to find a new life. He only has family in Ohio. His parole officer lets him go there. Like, and then when he gets there, when you get on parole, you need an address. You know what I mean? And his cousin gives him an address by signing his name to the deed of the house. So he always has a place to go. and it looks like life is going to get good for this guy, but it goes down. There's a lot of trouble in this town. There's a lot of insidious things happening. It's corruption, and that corruption ends up on his doorstep,
Mm.
and he has to
Any,
make a decision to be taken out or to take something out.
any of this autobiographical? Any
A
of the
lot of it
pieces of
is
this?
inspired. A lot of it is inspired by some of my travels. Some of it is inspired. The character is named Unique. I named him after Old Dirty Bastard. You
Mm.
know what I mean? And then of course there's some a B story in it that I don't want to give a spoiler,
Yeah.
but the B story is pretty dark, and but there's articles and there's evidence that this is happening.
Mm.
The value of life is being very diminished. You know what I mean? Because the value of life is being turned into profit. And that's a subplot that happens in this film that will have you grabbing your seat, bro.
Right.
This is very Quentin Tarantino, Wu-Tang, Eli Roth type
Right.
energy right here, bro.
The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito. Celebrity Jobber.
But if the song's not on WBLS, I mean, ever think about what would you be doing? What would your life be? If that didn't happen to you, what would your life be like? What would you be doing?
I'll be trying still. You know what I mean? Once I decided that I had to go the positive route and be an artist and live that artist, let me just say something to you, bro. I've been writing songs since I was 9 years old. Okay? And I've been, I bought my first pair of turntables at 11. 12, we got an Echo box. 13, we got microphones. Before that, we was rapping through the headphones. You know what I mean? The aspiration to create has been in me. When we used to make tapes, I want to say one last thing to you. Before we had turntables, remember those little old tape recorders you could press play,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah, bro. We would get a shoebox and comic books and use them as drums, a bass drum and snare, and just rap into the tape recorder.
Wow.
It was destined. This is me, Old Dirty Bastard, his brother Ramsey. Ramsey is also the name of one of my characters in the film. My brother Devon, my brother King. And eventually that leads to, of course, the Jizza, our cousin. And then eventually, by the time I'm 16, Method Man moves to Staten Island. And if it wouldn't have worked then, we would have kept trying. And it's just like in the film business right now for me, bro. This is my fourth film, my fourth feature film. And I love it. I think that the stories I'm telling will have impact today, but even more impact tomorrow. And I'm going to continue to do my best to share them.
In theaters, One Spoon of Chocolate and Wu-Tang's RZA, a.k.a. Bobby Digital.
In the building.
So good. Hey, man, honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff.
Great
Respect.
talking to you, brother.
Peace.
Take care. His mother admired the Kennedys, so named her son Robert Fitzgerald Diggs. And his mother raised 11 children in a 2-bedroom apartment and said that the welfare system, food stamps, provided for his family growing up. Walked to school because he didn't have the nickel to take the bus. I mean, just think about this for a minute and where this guy is today. Writer, producer, director, rapper, record producer, composer, actor, filmmaker. He went from that to where he is today. Yeah, he said he dreamt, but he didn't realize how his dreams were attainable. He was involved with some petty crime and some drug dealing, a street hustler, and was charged with attempted murder when he was living in Steubenville, Ohio for a little bit. Was acquitted of that charge, which gave him what he refers to as his second chance. You can easily see how this guy took advantage of that second chance and how easily things could have gone the other way for RZA. You know, his first wave of success was with the rap group Wu-Tang Clan out of Staten Island, which was basically immediately following his acquittal. And he mentioned how the moment that changed his life forever was hearing their song, Protect Your Neck, on a real radio station, WBLS in New York. Not a college station or an underground station, like a real station. He mentioned hearing that song, Protect Your Neck, on that station. Pivotal moment in his life. And like I mentioned earlier, Wu-Tang Clan, a cultural phenomenon. Raekwon, Method Man, Old Dirty Bastard, The Jizza, Inspector Deck, Ghostface Killer, Master Killer, You God, and of course RZA. From there got into acting. You know, some movies like Funny People, one of my favorites. Adam Sandler, Seth Rogen, American Gangster. I mean, honestly, too many credits to mention. It's unbelievable. A film score composer, and now writer, producer, director for the new film One Spoon of Chocolate, which is presented by Quentin Tarantino. You know, RZA's other films, you know, like Man with the Iron Fist, the group Wu-Tang Clan, they all have this like kung fu kind of undertone, which he mentioned. Earlier in his life, his mom hooked up with this guy that ultimately became his stepdad, and he was a street hustler. And he would come home with $1,000 and he would give RZA $25 and he would take all his brothers and sisters to the movie theater to watch these kung fu movies, kind of where it all started for him. So you see how that kind of shaped him and influenced him. Yeah, and then he said he needed his own money, so talked about his first jobs, one of them selling newspapers on the Verrazano Bridge, which connects New Jersey and Staten Island. I jokingly mentioned if that was where Jimmy Hoffa was buried. It's the old rumor up there. He's in the concrete of that bridge. He laughed and also mentioned how he worked for Hoffa's cousins, meaning maybe he was involved with the mob a little bit. It's the life in the streets of New York. He said he also sold fruit and like did something separating screws, which was next door to a pepper store, sneezing all day. He said he was also a street hustler, selling some marijuana, you know, and then got caught up with the wrong people and got that second chance. And man, did he take advantage of that. I could have talked to this guy for hours. Fascinating story of success. Rapper, record producer, composer, actor, filmmaker. Robert Fitzgerald Diggs, a.k.a. The RZA, a.k.a. Bobby Digital. Writer, producer, director of the film One Spoon of Chocolate, in theaters now. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Celebrity Jobber Podcast, streaming on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Please subscribe. We'd love a 5-star rating. Leave a review. Past guests and episodes online, celebrityjobber.com. Follow on Instagram, celebrity_jobber_podcast. Also, youtube.com/the@celebrityjobber. And for bonus content, check out our Substack, which is substack.com/celebrityjobber. Things could have really gone the other way for Robert Fitzgerald Diggs, but it seemed like his mother had big plans for him. She named him after the Kennedys, and I'll tell you what, she was right. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Celebrity Jobber Podcast. Big guests coming up like comedians Jim Brewer and Cedric the Entertainer. Until next time, I'll see you then. I'm Jeff Zito.